And hello, welcome to the November episode of Let's Talk Miamisburg. Glad to have you with us again. I'm Gary Giles. I'm the city's public information officer. Here's what we have in store for you over the next 30 minutes. A little later in the program, we're going to meet the new Parks and Recreation Director in Miamisburg and preview December's community holiday celebration. You'll want to be sure and stay tuned for that discussion. But first, we want to provide an update on the numerous water and sewer projects that have been taking place in the community this year. Joining me to do that once again is Project Manager Steve Morrison. Before we get started, we want to remind you that viewers are invited to participate in our program. If you're watching us on November the 9th, you are watching us live. To call in with any questions or comments that you might have, just dial 424-1679. That's 424-1679. Steve Morrison, hello, welcome back.
Hi, Gary. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Welcome to the program. Glad to have you. Major work, major progress on the many water and sewer projects taking place in Miamisburg. Before we look at those individually, the process all began with the creation of a master plan for our systems, didn't it?
Yes. That goes back to around the 2012 time frame. The city was left with some responsibilities to look at infrastructure aging. They had some EPA required improvements that they needed to do in the water and sewer system. And then they also needed to look out, 20 years out in the future to see if they were going to be able to supply the water that's needed, especially in the Austin Road area where the majority of the city's growth is going.
Sure.
They had to hire professionals to do those master plans, and after about a year of studying the options there, they came up with some recommendations, and then we briefed City Council at that time. City Council and what we had recommended to City Council is that we go out and look at what other options does the city have other than doing approximately $70 million worth of construction work. So we did. We went and looked and talked to the city of Dayton, their water and sewer department. We talked to Montgomery County, and we had a third-party consulting engineering firm look at that, evaluate the information. And once that was presented to City Council with all the alternatives, they decided to keep those utilities in-house and do the improvements that were needed to continue that. It's a major undertaking just to run a utility, and when you make that commitment to keep it, you're making that commitment to make sure you're doing the improvements, down the road 20, 30, 40 years.
Sure.
So that was sometime in the December 13 time frame, and rates were presented. That we had a consultant that looked at rates, looked at what it was going to take to fund the $70 million, and council ended up approving those rates in June of 2014. And that was a 5-year rate projection, pretty much front-loaded with rates on the water and sewer side. I believe we're in the third year right now, and those rates should be leveling off to where we're seeing a low single-digit percentage, somewhere around the 3% increase.
Sure. All of the planned projects have begun. Several are substantially complete. So let's look at those first. We're going to put our first graphic on the screen if we could, and starting with the rehab of the city's drinking water wells. Tell us about that.
Well, the city uses 5 wells. As you go west across the Linden Avenue Bridge, you look south and you can see well houses out there, and there's approximately 5. There's 5 of those well houses, and those are buried wells. That's where the city gets all of its potable water to supply its residents. Mm-hmm. And some of those wells were drilled in the late 50s, early 60s, and early 70s, and it was due for basically a complete rehab above the ground to look at and replace all the infrastructure. That project is essentially complete, and you can see here on the visuals here for the residents when they look at what was there before compared to what was there, what is in place right now is a significant improvement. And that project was probably about a $1.25 million project. And again, it looked at everything from the ground up.
Sure.
Structure, electrical, and all the new safety code issues that had to be dealt with on those projects.
Another project that was completed this year took place along Richard Street, and this included work on the water tank that's at the corner of Richard Street and Heineke Road. We're going to put our next photo up on the screen and tell us, Steve, what all this project included.
Well, the visual you're seeing there is an existing tank, but part of the master plan that the city looked at in the water distribution area is they needed to get water out to bypass the low system, which is the oldest part of town. Water is getting there, but we need to take water in an efficient and effective manner to the high service, which is out in the Heineke Road area, 725 area. And in order to do that, you've got to have pretty good sized transmission mains. So what this project did is to construct and install a 20-inch water transmission main from about the Sycamore Bridge up down Kircher, up 11th, up 12th to Richard, and then to the tank. And as part of that, we also looked at a complete inside and outside rehabilitation of that water tank, which is in essence a coating of the inside and the outside of the tank. It's the same color, sure, but it's a rehab of that tank.
Okay, and that is, as you mentioned, complete.
That is
a before picture of the tank, not visually significantly different now, the look, but we wanted to give viewers an idea of what the tank we were referring to.
And what the residents will see there is, they'll see there was some spotting on the tank, which they'll be able to see. And then also we're going to do some site work there, replace the fence,
sure,
put up a black fabric type fence up there, and just spruce up the area some.
Now let's look at the west side of the river. You've got Riverview Avenue that runs right along the Great Miami River on the west side. And there was significant water and sewer line work going on over there. Tell us what happened along Riverview.
Yeah, actually there's several projects going on there,
sure,
but the first project we worked on that was EPA mandated was we had to replace the entire sewer line from Riverview and Linden all the way to the Westover Park, which is where our wastewater pump station is, which is also being completely replaced.
Right.
And when we were looking at that, we decided that we needed to probably at the same time add and replace the water line along that same portion of road, only because you don't want to go back in and later on when you're done paving and replace a water line. Plus it was sorely needed. The sewer line was an EPA mandated project, and basically we had to seal that line up and replace it to keep the water from stormwater, extraneous water getting into the sanitary sewer line. That was really two major projects because, and the residents can attest to this, basically that road, when we installed the water line and we had to come do that first and come back and do the sewer line, essentially the road was left pretty much all gravel. Now where we're at in the project now, it's essentially complete. It's been paved, but there's still going to be a lot of construction work going on along Riverview because we have our water plant project going on there and the Westover pump station. So a lot of construction equipment and trucks will be going down Riverview.
No more road disruptions,
no,
but still work going on along that area. So just be aware
yes,
that those trucks and that equipment.
Yes, and it's for the most part, the road is completely paved curb to curb.
Sure. Okay. The next project, and I guess we'll say this one is about half done, would be involving an area around Benner Road, and you've seen some road closures up in that area. Tell us what's going on there.
Well, part of getting that water to the high service area, the city had to take a water line and take it from the Linden Avenue Bridge down Dayton Cincinnati Pike to Benner Road, and then we're in the midst of constructing a water booster station on the mount, just north on the mound property if you get about halfway up the hill along Benner going east. And that water line will go to that booster station, and it will pump that water from that section to the high service. And that water line work is essentially complete. I think by December 1, they'll have work completed on that. And the section they're working on now is from Linden up to Gephardt Church. And I think December 1 is when they're expecting to have that water line installed.
So different sections of Benner have been closed at times as that work has progressed.
Yes.
After December 1, approximately, you would expect Benner then to be open.
There won't be any more really road construction work. All the work on that water booster station will be done on the Mound property.
Well, let's talk about the big picture of road disruptions. We've talked about several here through the course of 2016. Kircher, Richard, that area, Riverview, now Benner. What kind of road disruptions would you anticipate for 2017 as part of these projects?
I would say very, very little road interruptions whatsoever.
Okay.
There may be on occasions when construction equipment's got to get into a facility,
Sure.
so they may have to block the road off, but no other water line or sewer line construction on any roads associated with these projects.
And those roads that had pavement cuts this year, they will all be restored by winter, correct?
Oh, yes, and most of them are already restored right now.
Okay, okay. We're talking with Steve Morrison about the city's water and sewer projects going on in the community. It's November 9th. If you're watching us on that date, you are watching us live. Our number on the show is 424-1679. So Steve, let's transition now into some work that is still going on. What can residents expect to see going forward now? Some are finished, but some still going to be going on for another year, maybe 2 years. Let's start with the pump stations. Tell us where those are and what's going on.
Yeah, I would say most of the rest of these projects that we're under construction now,
Sure.
but there's probably a 2-year time frame to complete most of them. But just to give you a little perspective here, of the $70 million that went in the water and sewer master plan to do this work, the projects that we just talked about that were finished is only about $10 million of the total number of projects. So the majority of the dollars really haven't been spent yet on these projects. But the Benner Booster Station that I mentioned earlier, that's that facility will be put in. I don't know, residents would go down and see the building there on Vanguard off of Dayton Cincinnati Pike as they go into the Mound property. That booster station will kind of match the architectural views of that building there, but it'll be back further into the Mound property, and that will house the pumps to pump the water into the high service from the low service. I would expect that project probably next fall that will be done and put in use over there at that site.
How about the pump stations?
The East Side Pump Station, that's the city's major pump station for wastewater treatment it's been there since the mid-50s. It needed replaced, and it's just south, the property just south of Bell Civic Park. Major work going on there now with the buried equalization basin, and that project will probably end up probably about fall of next year, maybe into the spring of 18. It's hard to tell depending on the construction in the weather.
Okay. You mentioned the Westover pump station.
Westover Pump Station is there at Westover Park. That's a wastewater treatment pump station, pumps all the wastewater across the river east to the East Side Pump Station.
And then the two treatment facilities, Water Reclamation Facility, which people may know as the facility near Rice Field,
Just north of Rice.
and then the water treatment plant on the west side of the river.
Yes, that's a major, there's $15 million worth of work being done at the wastewater treatment plant. Most of it's EPA mandated. At the across the river on Riverview, the water treatment plant, that's probably about $12 million worth of work. And the major issue there and factor there the residents will get softened water when that work is done, which
Sure.
will be a great benefit to the residents.
Sure, people are looking forward to that,
Yeah.
I know. Okay, Steve, our time is up. Appreciate you stopping by and giving us an update on all these projects. Look forward to seeing that work progress in 2017.
Great. Thanks,
Okay.
Gary.
Project Manager Steve Morrison joining us here on Let's Talk Miamisburg. We're going to take a 60-second break now. Stay with us. When we return, we're going to meet the city's new Parks and Recreation Director. And welcome back to Let's Talk Miamisburg. A reminder, if you're watching us on November 9th, you are watching us live. Still time to get on board with any questions or comments on our topics tonight. Our number here on the set is 424-1679. I'm Gary Giles. We're glad to have you with us watching for the month of November. As promised now, we switch gears. We're going to talk a little bit about the Miamisburg Parks and Recreation Department. And joining me on the set, to my immediate left, is Kelsey Whipp. Kelsey is the new Parks and Recreation Director for the city of Miamisburg. And to Kelsey's left, or the far right on your screen, is Mark Hesse. Mark's been with us many times before. Mark is a recreation programmer in the department. Mark and Kelsey, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Kelsey, we're pleased to introduce you to the community as the new Parks and Recreation Director here on our show. You've been on the job now for a few months. Why don't you tell our viewers a little bit about your background and maybe a little bit about your priorities as you've settled into the new position.
Sure, and thanks for having us, Gary. I appreciate it. And it's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to introduce myself to the community. It's a community that I've loved my entire life, grown up here, and now raising a family myself. So excited to be here, doing something I love, Parks and Recreation in the city I love. So it's been wonderful. I've spent the last couple months reacquainting myself with some community partners that I've known, some of them, and getting to know a lot others. And as we're moving forward, we just finished up water park season, of course, as I got here, and wrapped up for a very nice hot season. And now we are moving forward into fall, and our biggest project right now, if the viewers go across the Linden Avenue Bridge and look on the west bank, you'll see a river access project. And that's the new boat launch for canoes and kayaks and such. So we're very excited about that project. Another thing is I've just been, like I said, reacquainting myself with a lot of the different organizations. I am one of the newest members of the Historical Society. So I'm getting to work with them on a couple different things. And also the turkey trot's coming up. That's a huge event for our community. So it's been a pleasure working with those event organizers as well. So we're going right along. Another project that we are looking at in the future is kind of with the baseball and softball league, and that's actually an organization, the MCYBSA, that we've worked with a long time. And they've done some really great things, but we're actually kind of taking on those responsibilities and pursuing some new options now. And we're moving ahead with that, as well as we have a holiday event coming up, right? Yeah. So Mark can tell you a little bit more about that, but...
well, I want to ask you,
sure.
You talked a couple times about reacquainting yourself. Mm-hmm. You have been a member of the Miamisburg community as a resident for quite a while.
Yes.
And you are a former employee. So tell us a little bit about your professional background before becoming Parks and Recreation Director.
Sure, Gary. And I actually was an employee of the city before. It was actually my very first job was at the Sycamore Trails Aquatic
In high school,
Center.
maybe?
It was.
Okay.
I was 14.
Okay.
And that was my very first position. And then a couple years later, I started working as an administrative assistant in the office and really grew my love for Parks and Recreation at that time. And then decided to take another opportunity at City of Kettering, which was great experience as well. It's in the same region, so gained some new partners, some new outlook on Parks and Recreation and what it can do for residents. So very exciting stuff. And like I said, 2 little girls that have been with me during this whole process, and they love Parks and Recreation. They can't believe that, mommy does something so fun. So
Sure,
it's exciting
sure.
to show them.
How long were you with the City of Kettering?
A little over 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, and in that time, I still continue to volunteer for the city. My heart is definitely with the City of Miamisburg. So I worked on the Spring Fling Committee, as well as the CUFAB, which is Citizens Urban Forestry Advisory Board, which there are some vacancies. So if anyone is interested, I would encourage them to apply for that position. And you can find more information on the website as well. And so, just like I said, getting to know everyone. We have a fantastic department, just an amazing, talented team. So I'm excited that we're getting to move in a direction, a positive direction.
You've hit the ground running, and I'm sure
Yes.
being here in the past
Yes.
has helped you really get a fast start.
Absolutely. Yes.
As you launch in your new position.
Yeah, it sure has.
Mark, let's bring you into the discussion. Holiday season right around the corner, my friend. Again, it's hard to believe.
Yes.
Miamisburg again has a number of activities for families this year revolving around the holidays, and sort of the showcase event is the Community Holiday Celebration. Tell us when that is this year and what's planned.
It is, yeah. The community holiday event is scheduled for Saturday, December 10th. The event will start at 11:30 with our parade, which is Holiday Trees and Memories for the theme this year. After the parade, we have activities that will follow until 2 o'clock. We have pictures with Santa, games and crafts, and then refreshments in the Bottom Opera House. We'll have carriage rides that'll go through, horse-drawn carriage rides that will go through downtown. And we'll also have participating businesses providing activities in their stores. So it creates just a fun day for citizens to get out and celebrate the holiday season just with other people in the community. And then the parade is just provides, last year we had over 70 floats that go down through Main Street and showcase really their float, but what our city offers to our community.
Sure. So it all revolves around downtown.
Yep.
Parade starts 11:30. Catch a parade, variety of other family activities for the holidays, and let's give that date one more time.
Yeah, December 10th.
Admission is free.
Yes, everything is free.
There you go. Fantastic. Look forward to that again this year. Several other smaller type events and programming available for the holidays. Tell us what else we have on.
Yeah, we have a huge lineup of family activities for the holidays. It actually starts this Saturday with our turkey basketball shoot, which is it'll be at Medlerview Elementary School. It starts at 10 a.m. It's a free throw contest where the winning families will actually take home a turkey for their families. So we'll give away 10 turkeys this Saturday at this contest. So it's a fun event that we've had for the past 7 years. So we're excited about that. Following that, we have our holiday pizza and bingo, which is on December the 2nd. Then we have our Sundays with Santa program. That's another big program where actually Santa stops back in and has a little more quality time with the participants. That program is on December the 4th. There's games and activities with that. Kids get to enjoy a Sunday with Santa, and then there's a candy cane hunt that ends that event. So it's a fun day for those kids as well. Little well-rounded activities.
Where's that take place?
That is at the Senior Adult Center.
Okay, and that's right along Central Avenue near the railroad tracks.
Yep, and then we have our gingerbread house making program, which is on Tuesday, December 6th, which is also at the Senior Adult Center. That program, parents and kids come in and they get to decorate a gingerbread house, make a mess, and then we clean it up for them, so they don't have to deal with any of the mess.
Sure.
And that's $15 per house, so it's just a flat fee for the house, however many houses that you would want to do with your family, and you get to come in, decorate, and have a great time. So it's a fun lineup of family activities that people really get into, and something we love to provide to our community.
Sure. Let's give the date one more time on the gingerbread house contest.
Yeah, it is Tuesday, December 6th.
Okay. When you look then past the holidays, okay, we're into the winter months. We're dealing with maybe our favorite holiday pastime, which is eating, okay? You got a full array of exercise programs for the winter in Miamisburg.
We do.
Give people a flavor of what's available.
Yeah, so we have two brand new ones coming to the lineup this year, which is our Country Heat Live, which is a high energy, low impact program,
Okay.
and then Pound program, which is they use actual sticks to do this exercise. It's pretty neat if you look it up online. And we have some of the favorites coming back, like yoga. We have Zumba, P90X, that are all going to be in a lineup this year for people to really get working in the new year to work off those holiday treats.
And the conventional wisdom is that's the most active time for people to take exercise classes. Is that what you find?
Yes, definitely.
Definitely, okay, okay. And then looking further ahead then into 2017, you're actually making it shelter reservations available for the year coming up beginning after the first of the year.
We are,
Let's
yeah.
give those dates to the public.
So residents will be able to come in on January 3rd to start reserving their shelters for the year for any activities they want to have in the parks. And then non-residents will be able to come in on February the 1st.
February the 1st, non-residents.
Yep.
And the shelters that are available for reservation are located where?
We have 2 of them at Sycamore Trails Park,
Okay,
and then 1 at Mound Park.
okay. So let's keep that in mind. As people want to follow up on the programmings, any of the dates that we've talked about here, how is the best way that they can do that?
Well, there's 2 great ways to get that information. One is checking out our website, which is www.playmiamisburg.com. That has all of our program information, our information on upcoming activities, events, and all of that. Or you can always call into our office at 937-866-8999 and talk to one of our front desk staff to get that information.
Okay. As our time winds down, Kelsey, one other question for you. You mentioned the youth baseball and softball program for 2017. The city is launching new programming for that,
Yes.
for the local community.
Yes, we are.
Do you have any dates yet for when the sign-ups will begin, or at least an approximation for the viewer
Yeah.
who might be interested in that?
Yeah, and it will start about the same time as our other registration, and it looks to be about January 4th through March up into the season.
Okay.
And we'll have that information available in the next Civic Focus.
Okay, so be on
Yeah.
the lookout for that.
And Gary, if you don't mind, we brought a special guest I'd like to introduce you to.
I'm going to get to that, Kelsey.
Okay.
Bear with
All
me here.
right, all right.
In addition to introducing you, we wanted to introduce another new employee with your department,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So let's bring that person on stage now if we could,
Okay.
and I'll let you tell us all about her. Okay? Who's this character?
This is Sammy the squirrel, and we're happy to introduce Sammy as the newest mascot to Miamisburg Parks and Recreation Department. And the community did name Sammy at the River Blast event this year. So we're very excited to have her a part of our special events and upcoming programs. And this winter we'll actually have a squirrel appreciation event as well. So welcome, Sammy. Are you happy to be here? Good. Well, we're glad to have you.
Sammy is very enthusiastic.
Yes.
And the community helped name Sammy.
Yes.
That's
yes,
fantastic.
absolutely.
The new mascot
Yes.
for the Miamisburg Parks and Recreation Department, that's Sammy the squirrel. Sammy, we look forward to having you on again real soon. And the two of you also. Kelsey Whipp, Parks and Recreation Director, and Mark Hesse, Recreation Programmer for the city of Miamisburg, joining us here on Let's Talk Miamisburg. I'm Gary Giles. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next when our next episode debuts on December 14th. Watch us then. Until then, so long, everybody.
Right.